It's Guru Jojo, and in this video I'm going to be speaking about consolidating the ego through chakra awareness. So, sounds a little weird, but it'll start to make sense. Basically, we can understand that throughout the spiritual journey, there's this mission to, in a sense, sacrifice the ego, or at least I say we're trying to temper the ego, because you completely get rid of the ego, you almost be like dead, right? There'd be a very much lack of control. So, the ego is something that I feel like people that aren't on a spiritual journey, they really hold on to this. And, for some reason, the life paths are different. This is what kind of differentiates the life path of people who are self-actualizing, or they're seeking a more spiritual experience or spiritual journey. April's here. She just ate her food. So, in attempt to trying to find ourselves spiritually, a lot of times the ego has to be reconstructed, in a sense. Because spiritual people, that's what we're trying to do. We're really trying to find the depths of ourself, of our identity. And the thing is, too much ego could block this, okay? So, now, the chakras, okay, are something that spiritual people value, because it's almost like checking your spiritual health, in a sense. These are the chakras. You're able to kind of get an idea, more so things you can't see, because most of us, what we usually do is we start to consider something being wrong when something actually is wrong, before actually like preventing something from being wrong. Like the chakras are a way for you to constantly calculate. I don't want to say calculate, but it's a way for you to keep things in, keep things together, in a sense. So if you think of it as for example, somebody who goes to the gym and they're just trying to stay together. They're not really trying to they're trying to stay fit or stay how they are. They're not really trying to make too many changes. It's like that with the chakras. You're just trying to maintain good health of these spiritual, psychological type of energies, which also they're kind of neurological too. But that's not really what this is about, this particular video. I'm going to explain the different egos through the chakras, all right? So, alright, just keep that in mind. That's what I'm about to do. Get ready for this. Get myself together a little bit. So, you got the root chakra, right? This is the first ego, right? The root, sacral, solar plexus. The root chakra is, this is our physical security, basically. Sacral chakra is our emotional security. And our solar plexus is our security in the ability to go after things, or our willpower, in a sense. This is the ego that is constructed of independence. This is your independent ego. Because after you have your physical security needs met, pretty much, after you feel a sense of connection to home, family, or anything you're trying to establish in life, you feel connected to the earth, you feel connected to some sort of roots, in a sense. And you feel safe, right? Then you're able to, this is now being reinforced by the sacral chakra. Then you're able to kind of start focusing your own independent emotional needs. You get me? Your independent emotional needs, your sacred needs, your values, right? So you're connected with the fact that you feel a certain type of way and you have certain things, or you have a way to express how you feel. Like you have a way to express your emotions and feelings. So this again, would be like, these are like your sacral needs, your sacral chakra. Now on the more extreme, this is where we are oftentimes creative or whatever. But for the most part, this is as simple as like the fact that when you feel like you have something to go to, or an outlet when you feel some type of way. And this is especially, when you're, again, this is why this is the independent ego. This is to yourself. When you start to get to the throat chakra and stuff, this is where you're depending on others to sort of like reinforce how you feel. The sacral chakra doesn't care about that. This is actually, should I get into this? I think I should. All right. Because this is going to help people to understand a little bit more. Almost think of somebody that is dependent on drugs and stuff. They don't need other people. They only need for it to get the stuff that they want. But they've chose for their sacral needs to be very, very dependent upon physical resources rather than like connection. That's why a lot of those people are like that. They'll say they don't really talk to people like that. And not all people are like that do drugs. I'm just saying this is the reason why, because these people they became very dependent on their sacral needs, and they probably are very disconnected from their root chakra energy. So then the next one is the solar plexus. This is the willpower. This is your ability to do things without needing some sort of confirmation and validation from others, because you already feel stable and secure from the root chakra energy, and you feel supported with your of your emotional needs from the sacral chakra energy. Then you're able to feel confident to go after the things that you want. And it's usually independently. You usually don't have to depend on others for the solar plexus. It's your willpower. It's not you depending on other people to get what you want type of thing. This is your willpower. That's the solar plexus. So again, that is the ego of being, independent. And a lot of the time, this ego, the reason why spiritual people, there's a spiritual journey of tempering the ego, is because spiritual people learn, they go through experiences. This is what is part of the spiritual awakening, where they realize all these physical resources that they have could be like, it seems like it could be here and gone tomorrow. There's something where for some reason the karma that they came here in this life with was here to show them that you can't really depend too much on things. This is why like a lot of them do have a strong first three chakras too. And so there's a need to really prioritize your physical necessities in life, so you feel like you can stick to those things and you don't have so many physical things that you depend on to the point that you keep losing, then you're upset. So that's like one of the missions of spiritual people, is to like build an ego, in my opinion, in a kind of like a minimalistic manner to be safe, and that's like sort of the inspiration of my my handmade jewelry business, Artless Essentials, you know what I'm saying? So now what I'm trying to connect is the fact that those first three chakras are about, that independence energy. But there comes a point in spiritual people's life, a lot of spiritual people, they can do a lot and handle a lot alone. And then there's by themselves. And then there's situations that occur that kind of destroys that ego. You need others. And that's when the next chakras start to become of value. The heart chakra and the throat. Because this is now when you need that human connection and interaction, and you need that reciprocation of love. You want to give out love and you want it back. It's like eventually that's the heart chakra. That's where, you start to want to feel a sense of belongingness outside of just the root chakra. outside of just your family and or the people that you were just born, you were born into this type of family, like, or this is where you start to feel connected to people that are different from you. You start to feel that now this connection is not at the crown, this is a connection at the heart. Like you start to feel, you go to someone else's house and you feel you can start to feel like this is when we were younger, we went to our friend's house and we feel at home, at certain friend's house. But it's not your home, it's not the root. You see? So that's like a heart, that's a heart chakra thing right there. And then the throat chakra is where now those sacral needs, right? You're able to express it in creative ways. You're able to share it with others. So I could have known this knowledge and sat in my room, right? And kind of like indulge in my own emotional security of like knowing this, but not being able to like get it, understand it in an intellectual way. Instead, I could just constantly keep reinforcing it. But by me doing this video, I'm actually interacting with my heart and my throat chakra technically. And I'm actually interacting with all of them. But I'm just trying to say, like, this is the next step. After you can do stuff like independently and whatnot, you're gonna want to connect with the outside world. This is how we build the ego of dependence. This is now a dependent ego. You're dependent upon others. You're dependent upon what other people have to say, or you may be dependent on other people listening to what you have to say or what you did. So you're now dependent upon the reaction of your solar plexus, basically. You see? So this is the ego of dependence, basically. The heart and the throat chakra. All right, the heart chakra is like your sense of belongingness, wanting to connect with another person, having compassion for others, and then you get that, you end up receiving that energy back. You know what I'm saying? When it's balanced. The problem, with this is the ego in this area could be destroyed when you're too dependent upon others. What happens when other people don't want to reinforce what you have to say, when other people don't want to, connect, when other people have different opinions? Are you, obviously when these chakras are healthy and they're doing well, and there's no need to reconstruct or rebalance them, everything kind of works smoothly. Like, yeah, opinions could be different, but it's all good. It just works out. But when it starts to clash, you start, and it's too many situations with too many people, that's your chakra, your heart and your throat chakra, most likely trying to rebuild that ego of dependence. It's maybe telling you need to go back and build a stronger ego of independence. It could be that you've been depending too much on your heart chakra needs and your throat chakra needs to the point that now you can't ever do anything by yourself. You constantly need your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend, your neighbor, someone. Like, you're gonna come off like attention seeking. Someone needs to reinforce your thoughts, your creativity. Like, you can't ever just do something just as a hobby. You can't ever just have an opinion. You constantly need. You're needy. This is how it becomes the ego of dependence. You become needy. Okay, you become needy. That's what happens. All right. Then, after that, you have I'm going to say the ego of like, the ego of connectivity and uniqueness. So in other words, this is I'm speaking of the third eye. You could think of the third eye and the crown as actually separate egos. They all are separate egos, but you can really think of those two as being separate. But they do build an ego of basically intuition, feeling intuitively connected and unique. So you could think of it as the ego of connectivity versus uniqueness, basically. All right. Connectivity versus uniqueness. So a lot of times this is like the ego where you may feel very connected with others. This is why you have the psychic capabilities, the intuition, right? You're able to be predictable. So it's the ego of being predictable, of not you being predictable, but of being able to predict things, of being able to know. It's the ego of all knowing, right? But at the same time, it's almost like an upgrade of the solar plexus. So you're able to be independent enough to see yourself as a separate being from others. So the third eye sees the connection with everyone. The crown sees its separation. So that's what the ego is. It's literally an ego of, I belong, but I'm unique. In my opinion, it is kind of good to build an ego in this area, but the problem is with no foundation, it means absolutely nothing. So that's where, again, then, the ego of independence is significant. So your root, sacral, and solar plexus needs actually have a pretty significant role. And then, it plays a good part in the way that you're able to maintain anything in life. And then your heart and your throat chakra also, because at the end of the day, you still need people to reinforce the fact that you are connected. You are within a network. And then you also still need compassion. Compassion is very important. And then you still also, you need to be able to express your uniqueness. You could feel unique internally, but the crown chakra allows for it to actually present itself in some sort of way. So, those are the three egos, like I said, independence, dependence, and then the ego of intuition or feeling connected. So you can say the ego of connectivity and uniqueness, or unique connections, however you want to say it. But those are the three egos that are built. And even to the third eye the third eye chakra, again, this is where a lot of our creative thought is reflected because of us. That's why. Your third eye, you are able to have that intuition and that sense of all-knowing because we're connected. Everyone is connected in some sort of way. And then the crown is where now you see yourself as a separate being. You're unique. There's something unique. That's where the crown is. You almost think of it as, I always think of crown chakra stuff and third eye as the cell phones today and whatnot. It's mainly what? Android and Apple. These are connected, but then they're separate though. One's Android and one's Apple. So that's what makes them unique. So that's just an example. There's many ways that that could be understood. But when you understand the egos through those three categories and whatnot, then you're able to understand how you can reconstruct or rebalance or temper those energies. Oh wow, that's the reason why I've been feeling withdrawn from others. Maybe it's because I need to establish a more independent ego. I need to balance that out more because my ego has become too stable and reliant upon dependence on others. My ego has been too dependent upon others. You know, you always want to listen to the opinion of others, or you need to always express yourself to others. Like, you never can just like do something or just feel a certain type of way to yourself or something like that. You know, everyone's different, and I feel like, you know, this is a good way to understand yourself better and understand like the spiritual path and the spiritual journey. So if you like the video, please like, comment, share, subscribe.